Built in 1864 by Fletcher and Jennings of Whitehaven in Cumbria as works engine number 42, our number one Talylln is one of the most earliest working regular steam locomotives in the world. She was built specifically for the Talylln to aid with the construction and running of the line, arriving in early 1865. In her early days, Talylln was a very different looking locomotive. No cab or weather protection was present, leaving the crew to battle the elements on their own. She was originally an 040 configuration, and this led to the engine being of a rough rider. She would buck and bounce when at speed, so this was sent back to Whitehaven in January 1867. A set of trailing wheels were fitted below the footplate, so over the next 80 years, Talylln was used heavily by the railway, but by 1945, she was completely worn out. When number 2, Dolgok, was sent away for overhaul, the passenger service was suspended, but Talylln continued to take the occasional mineral and goods trains operating on reduced pressure. So, when Dolgok returned that year, Talylln was allowed a well-deserved rest, only steamed during emergencies. This happened sooner than expected as Dolgok derailed shortly after her return. Early volunteer John Smeal recalled, Talylln was no longer a locomotive, she was a self-propelled ball. With the preservation of the railway in 1951 and the arrival of numbers 3 and 4, Sir Hayden and Edward Thomas, room in the locomotive shed at Pendria ran out. Talylln was regulated to the old barn next to the passenger station, and here she sat for 6 years. While she rested, the railway was noticed by a certain Reverend Audrey. He transformed Talylln's number 1 into Skarloey in his Railway series books, and later the TV show, Thomas the Tank Engine. Bet you didn't know that. Skarloey was also worn out and sent away to be repaired, but was made really useful again, and this happened to Talylln on the 24th of March 1957. She was loaded onto the lorry and sent to Gibbons Brothers in England for a complete overhaul. The general manager, Eric Gibbons, was a keen supporter of the railway and had arranged to have the engine overhauled at his firm. The team at Gibbons Brothers, unfortunately, were not steam locomotive engineers, and thus their rebuild was not even that perfect. When Talylln returned to the railway in June 1958, it was clear that they had breathed new life into a little engine. But not quite enough, as on her first test run, even, she only reached Hendy Halt before running out of steam. It was discovered, amongst many other things, that there was no flaw in the smoke box. Yeah, poor Talylln. The newly returned Talylln proved a challenge to fire, and was shy of steam, and became a bane in many a crew. She was stripped down in 1968 and overhauled at Pendria, used the direction of John Bate. In 1972, Talylln returned to service over the next 15 years. The team resolved many of the problems that have arisen, and by 1987, she had gained a new reputation as one of the most reliable and well-loved locomotives in the fleet, along with being the most powerful. In 2014, however, before her 150th birthday, tragedy struck. A loose nut fell into Talylln's cylinder, causing the right hand connecting the rods to buckle and snap. This not only put an end to the 150-year-long career, but it also put Talylln out of action in the worst possible time. She was rapidly sent to the Festiniog Railway's Boston Lodge Works for the immediate repair, where the new rods were fabricated just in time for her birthday celebrations on the 24th of September 2014. The original rods, and then the extent of the damage done, can be seen on display at the Narrow Gauge Railway Museum at Talylln Works. So where is she now? Talylln's boiler ticket ran out in December 2018 at the end of Anything Goes Yalla. As of May 2021, she is currently still under overhaul, with the boiler at Mid-Hunts Railway Boiler Shop being worked on by Talylln volunteers in the area, while her frames, cylinder, water tanks, and everything else is being worked on in the in-house in Pendria. Like boasted in the 19th century and Gibbons in the 20th, they are breathing new life into this Talylln pioneer for railways to come. The end.